Can you do a Q&A? Yeah, I can do that. Look, I have the knowledge of at least 3 goldfish. First question. Where do you find the pages? I actually have a standard edition just off camera, but I'm hoping to get a special edition in the future. Question 2. Can you review all the pages? Yeah, there's currently about, I think 18 pages done. 17 if you don't count the one in this video. Where did you learn how to sketch, draw, paint? So I have had a few teachers. None of them actually sat down with me and showed me how to do anything, but they were the ones who reviewed all my stuff. So I learned how to paint with most mediums, how to 3D model, and how to animate in 2D and 3D space, as well as various editing techniques. The ego side of me wants to say I'm self-taught, but that's probably not true. Can you do more pages per video? So the reason I only do 1, probably 2 at the most, per video, it's because this is a really long-term project, and for me personally, it's a bit difficult to try to tackle multiple pages. It reminds me of this image right here. How many parts do you think this series is going to get? If I'm lucky, probably like 250. The most I've had is up to 100. I really love all the random commentary. Thank you, it's my favorite part to do! Did you ever get the invisible ink off your hands? Or is it still there? It's part of my character now. It did, it washed off after 2 days. How many times is he gonna say organic? It's my favorite word. Will you make Journal 2 for 50k likes? So Journal 1 was made to celebrate hitting 10k subscribers, and because materials are expensive, I'm trying to delay it a little bit for Journal 2. So I'm thinking around 50,000 subscribers. Then I'll go ahead and make Journal 2. Hopefully that gives me plenty of time to gather some extra cash. How to paint leather. Famous words from a random video.
How to paint leather. A step-by-step guide. Would you believe it's actually just me through a filter?
Where did you find the photos to do the black light? So you're probably not going to like this answer, but I'm actually just Googling it as I go. It's a bit chaotic, but it's the way I'm doing it. This one isn't actually a question, I just really like the idea. So I'm just going to add it here just so I don't forget it. He can make any fictional item come to real life. Thank you, I appreciate that. Eventually I'll finish Journal 3, and the next project I have in mind is actually the Thievius Raccoonus from Sly Cooper. So how did you come up with your username / profile picture? So I've gone through a few designs. This is the current one I'm using. And so it's kind of a silly reason, but I actually made it a little bird because everyone pronounces my name Berto with a hard T. It's actually pronounced Berto, which I get it's not spelled that way, but it's kind of too late. And so this is actually the reference I used. I'm not entirely sure what type of bird this is. I've seen it be called a couple things, but I can definitely see why people think it's a chicken. But it's a little bird in hopes that someone would get the reference Berto. As for the username, so my name's Berto, not my legal name, but it's what I go by. My buddy wanted me to get onto social media, and he's actually the one who came up with the forever part at the end. And when I jumped onto TikTok, that was already taken, so then that's where the number 4 came from. Will I be continuing Journal 3? Yes, but I will be taking little breaks, and my breaks are just random little projects I do on the side, but Journal 3 is the long-term project. How do I print the Polaroids? So I'm just taking a picture of it with my phone and then sending it over to the printer. And on my phone, I am adding an extra little filter to make it look dirtier. What paper am I using for the Polaroids? So I just picked it up at Fry's, but here's the exact paper I'm using. Are you going to be making the missing pages from the Book of Bill? I am, but just a handful of them, just so the journal doesn't get too bulky. But I'll be adding them as loose papers. Are you really going to be doing all 288 pages? I'm definitely going to try my best. Is your real name Berto? There's a couple missing letters, but kind of. It's the back half of my name. I have an extremely common name, so my buddies just kind of came up with a nickname just to differentiate me from everyone else. What kind of coffee did you use to make the paper? So I'm just using this instant coffee right here. It's pretty cheap. You can get an entire container for like $5. Have you read, seen, investigate the Book of Bill? Actually, I have not. I've seen a little bit of it. The first time I saw it was in the store right next to my Journal 3. But I was so excited to buy the Journal 3 that I glazed right over the Book of Bill. But I have seen a few videos here and there about it, but I'm really hoping to read into it myself. Where did you get your monocle? I got everything off of Amazon. I don't have links, but I do have old screenshots on my phone. Here's the journal that I got, Snowman Crafts. It's an 8x6 journal. Similar to this, I just haven't looked it up again, so I don't have any of the links. What kind of drawing materials are you using? So I'm mostly using gouache paint, and this is the set that I'm using. It is a bit on the pricey side. What kind of pens am I using? So for the drawing parts, I'm just using regular art pens, and then the writing, I'm just using this uni pen. So whenever I draw, my hands always rest on the page, and I end up getting a lot of lead on my hands, and it makes the drawing look a little faded. Any tips? Yeah, so I recommend that you add a piece of paper underneath your hand, but with time, I recommend you practice keeping your hand elevated a little bit. What page are you most excited for? Well, I'm actually pretty excited about doing the zombie page. No particular reason, just want to do it. My question, does it have the right amount of pages, and will you be doing the Dipper and Mabel parts? Yes, I'm going to try to add everything from the original Journal 3. What kind of phone do you have? So I record everything on my phone, and so I'm using an S23. And the editing program I'm using is a free one, it's called CapCut. It's pretty good actually. What is the story behind this channel, and why did you create it? And what did you do before? For the last 2 or 3 years, I was primarily on TikTok, and that's where I made book 2 and book 3. And that's where I was just taking a bunch of suggestions and then drawing. And I would always have some type of gimmick with those drawings. For example, book 2 was me saying that I was ruining the book. And then book 3, I was claiming to teach you how to draw while making the most ridiculous doodles. And so I eventually lost passion for that, and I just wanted to try something else. I'm going to assume this is referring to how long it takes me to do a single page. And painting a single page is roughly around 1 to 2.5 hours. They do take quite a bit of time. So this one is in reference to what type of tape I should be using, and they're suggesting that I should use a clear tape, but the reason I use the cloudy tape is because if you look at the reference in Journal 3, it does look kind of cloudy, so that is intentional. What are the products I'm using for my UV paint? So I'm using mostly primarily that Direct Glow product, but here's the pen that I'm also using as well. But I don't recommend it, it's an okay product. That's just a handful of questions that I saw. If you want to ask more questions, by all means, I'm just going to grab them off of this video and add them to the next one. So here's some bonus content from my logo, from start to finish. And if you notice, the eyes were supposed to be blue at one point, but I just completely forgot about it when I was coloring it. Also, here's the completed cipher. And these are the 2 clues to figure it out. Number 1, something on my desk doesn't belong. Number 2, the answer is in every video. Good luck figuring it out.